something somewhere put humans here, right? So whoever created humans wants us to be happy. If you like that, you're like that. Okay? It's that simple. If I like that, I am like that. If I don't like that, well, then I'm not like that. Space clearing time. Back to the video. And you know what? It will happen for a reason. Do you know why? Because the next thing I want to talk about is clearing up the old past. So the fact that my camera just ran out of space is a good thing, because now I can actually know what I'm going to talk about next. Just letting go of your past. See, everything happens for a reason, right? I live by this. It makes me so much happier, okay? So we all know we're asleep as humans, and we are spiritual beings inside of a human body, right? So what would happen if you were actually awake? What would happen if you woke up? What would that feel like? And do you want to wake up, right? Because we all go and we all say that and we all know that, right? But do we know what it actually means to feel as if though you were not a human anymore? If we actually were spiritual beings aware of the fact that we are a spiritual being and we were still forced to be here on earth, do you think we'd be able to continue going to be here on earth? Because what does it mean to be a spiritual being inside of a human body? It means that you are essentially awareness. That means as awareness, there is no concepts. You are unable to comprehend stuff that human mind is able to comprehend, because think about it. What is the difference of a human body that is asleep from awake, from how we think of it, right? Being awake means being more aware. The more awake you are, the more aware you are. The more asleep you are, the less aware you are. And so in essence, being asleep means we are fully unaware of our true selves, and we are fully aware of our human selves. The more awake we are, the more we are aware of our true selves, but we must still maintain that awareness of our human selves. What happens is when people go through spiritual awakening is that they tend to lose that awareness of the human selves because they become so aware of their true selves. And that distinction is really hard for our human mind to process. So what ends up happening is that the more awake we become, the more aware we become of our true selves. But the point is, we must maintain that perspective of being in this body. But can we actually do that if we are fully awake? Because what would it mean to be fully awake? When you are fully awake, it means that you are fully aware of your true nature, of the spirit self of you. It means that the concepts that our mind made no longer make sense to you, because the concepts that our mind made are mind made. They're created in three-dimensional cells. They're created from our ego cells, and therefore they are there to serve our purpose when we are fully asleep. When we wake up, those concepts, we are aware of those concepts as just concepts. Stuff is just stuff. Therefore, we have to learn to let go of any kind of idea of anything. So do you think we would be actually able to let go of all of that? Would you be able to let go of idea of a good and a bad? Would you be able to go through life being fully awake and aware of your true self while maintaining the perspective of life and actually accepting the fact that everything that happens to you is not personal to you? Would you be able to do that? And that's the biggest question, because we all say, well, we want to be awake, but are we actually able to wake up? Will our minds actually process that? Will we actually be able to handle it? Because do you know what non-existence feels like? We are here, we exist here, right? We exist on this earth. That's what we understand. But do we know what would it be like to not exist? Because if you wake up and you are awareness, you are aware of the fact that this here on this earth is temporary. You are aware of the fact that people and us, we are all asleep, and you are aware of the fact that what is up there. But what is up there? Up there, the human mind, the 3D, does not exist. Therefore, for us being awake means we have to be aware of non-existence. How can our human mind be aware of non-existence? If I asked you right now, can you comprehend what non-existence feels like? That is being fully wake up. When you fully wake up and you are aware of non-existence, your human mind has to still be able to be aware of existence. You have to be able to exist while knowing that you do not actually exist. Let that sink in for a second. Because the I, the ego, is the idea of our human mind. It is created here in three-dimensional space for us to be able to function and learn in this collective human consciousness. However, if we fully wake up and we let go of that, we cannot actually fully function on Earth unless we're able to integrate that into our human mind while being aware of the fact that none of this is real. Can we do that? Would we actually be able to, right? And that is the question, because my question to you now here is, what would it feel like to not exist? If you had a feeling right now of non-existence, what would that feel like? So let that sink in for a second, right? Step by step. Human mind exists here on Earth by polarity. We are aware of things, good and bad, by polarity. We are aware of everything by the good and the bad, the dark and the white, the stuff I like and don't like, good and bad, yes, plus, minus, all that, right? Polarity. We exist and are able to comprehend stuff due to polarity. In our non-existent state, after we wake up more, we reduce that polarity, right? When people wake up more, they let go of polarity. They become more accepting of stuff. They become more okay with things. They understand stuff more. They're more aware. That is waking up. Fully waking up means you eliminate polarity. Do you know what eliminating polarity means? That means that the stuff we see as bad and the stuff we see as good is literally just stuff. But can our human mind process that? Can our human mind actually process that? Are we able to get to the level where we can say that, yes, if someone's actually going to do something that I see as bad, like if someone punches you, can you actually comprehend that will benefit you? Right? Can our human mind comprehend that? If someone steals from you, if someone hits you, if someone hurts you physically, actually hurts you, from the awake perspective, it's okay. It's just stuff. So can we actually comprehend that? Are we even ready to wake up? We all want to wake up, but are we actually ready to wake up? Because it would break our human programming. Like if someone actually did bad stuff to you, we all get hurt because our all ego gets hurt. We are all attached to our past, and we all actually stuck there. We live in our past. We keep rewriting our own story based on the polarities that we are used to, and we're stuck there. If you are actually able to wake up, do you know what would happen? You would have to fully let go of all of the past, because you would be fully aware that none of that is real. The only time you ever exist is here and now. And I know I'm ranting right now, but this is a really deep thing, because if you think about it, we all want to wake up, right? We all think we want to wake up, but are we ready to wake up? Because if someone does something bad to you, someone leaves you, someone hurts you, if you are wake up, the more you wake up, the more you are aware of the fact that everything happens for a reason. Every single thing happens for a reason, right? And so basically what happens is that when something really painful happens, if you want to be fully aware and wake up, you have to be able to be aware of the fact that that is okay. Anything that is painful that happened to you, you gotta learn to appreciate that. Are we able to appreciate that? Are we able to look back in your life and say, everything that happened to me in my past, I'm very thankful for it because it has made me the person that I am today, and I'm very grateful for it, okay? This person knows that because I'm grateful for my past. I'm grateful for all of the stuff that hurt me because I know the stuff that hurt me made me how I am here today. The stuff that hurt you made you how you are here today, but are we able to look at it that way? Are we actually able to feel that? Can we feel that? Can you feel that? Can you look into your past and feel gratitude for the pain? Because until we are able to feel gratitude for the pain, we are not ready to wake up, okay? It doesn't matter how aware you are. We're not ready to wake up until we feel grateful for the pain, because from a higher perspective, stuff is just stuff. Literally none of that exists, okay? The polarity does not exist. Again, polarity is non-existent in the highest dimensions, because the more you wake up, the less polarity you have. At the fullest level of wakefulness, you have no polarity. None of that is real. So are we actually able to? And that's just the first question, okay? What does non-existence feels like? One part of it is non-polarity. The other part of it is concepts. Because polarity ties in very heavily with concepts. Our human mind has collective consciousness concepts that we have adopted throughout this course of history on Earth, and we live by that. We have concepts of what is good, what is bad, what we should do, what we should not do. That word does not exist in higher dimensions, okay? If we're able to wake up, there is no should. There is no must. There is no have to. There's only the way we are intended to be and the way we prefer to be. But are we able to do that? Are we able to let go of all our responsibility, right? The second part is, can you let go of any kind of responsibility and actually follow your feeling? Let that sink in too. You think you have to do something, you think you should XYZ. Now you're probably looking into your day or your life and you're thinking what you should be doing the next week, right? That word does not exist in higher dimensions. Can you imagine living your life without the word should? Can you imagine living your life without the word have to, or need to, or should? Can you imagine living your life without any kind of responsibility? We would not be able to function. We need to function. But at the same time, that's where the trick really is. And that's where it's really tricky for us to do that, because oftentimes what happens is when we let go of that responsibility, people fall the other way. They just want to have fun all day. But that's not what we're meant to do either. We're not meant to just be having fun all day. Sure, life is meant to be fun. But we also have a reason that we're here. We're learning and we're growing, right? So it's not just letting go of responsibility. It's letting go of responsibility knowing that there is a reason for our existence, and knowing that we have to follow the feeling and not the ego, because the ego is the wants to go party, have fun all day. Okay, that is this, like the passion, desire. There's a difference between the passion and desire. Okay, we're meant to follow our passion, not our desire. Our desire is our ego self. Human self is desire. The pleasures of the body, all of that is desire. Passion is the pleasures of the heart. The passion, if we're able to eliminate desire and follow that passion, only this way are we able to let go of the responsibility, because until we have desires, we need responsibility. Responsibility anchors us in our desires, and it allows us to actually overcome desires through following our passion, because that responsibility comes from our true selves, from our passion, and it allows us to anchor the fact that we still have desires that we think we should have. So until we're able to let go of those, we cannot let go of responsibility. So if you want to fully wake up, or you want to wake up more, my question to you is, are you ready to let go of all desires, of all should, of everything that you think that you want? Because the universe does not give us what we want, okay? The universe gives you what you need. And that is something we have to learn to appreciate. Because everything that you have in this life, everything, you need that. It's given to you for a reason. So you gotta learn to appreciate it, because otherwise, we're just never gonna wake up, okay? So the only thing is, when you are here in desire, it is the stuff that you want, the stuff that you think you should have, you should manifest, everything that you would, whatever, you're trying to control life, okay? Desire is trying to control life because you are not happy. Until you have this desire of should, you are not going to be happy ever. Because if you have pain, you think you should not have pain, the should, you don't want it, it's going to be there, it's going to make you unhappy, okay? And the responsibility that we have anchors us to our actual heart. Our heart knows that everything happens for a reason. Our heart knows that there is a reason for everything, and we should be able to appreciate that, because if it didn't happen, if it was not meant to happen to you, it would not happen to you. And so our heart knows that. Our heart knows where we're meant to go, but we don't let it speak. We don't let our heart speak because of this desire, okay? And this really makes me mad, because this desire that we have developed in our human mind, our ego selves, is keeping us away from our true selves. Because this desire, again, concepts, right? Step 2, the concepts, that is anchored in the concepts, because we think that something is better than something else, but is it actually? Coming back to polarity, right? Do you think polarity is that easy to let go of? Well, this is an aspect of polarity too, okay? Desire, the concepts, the stuff that we want, the stuff that we think will make us happy. People think success is money, all that. No. Success is being your true self. It's being happy. It's being awake. It's doing what you're meant to be doing. It's following your heart. That is success. How that translates into the human world is not up to us, okay? How that translates into your actual existence, it's not up to us. It's not up to you. Now, but we're not able to do that because we are hurting, right? And if you're hurting right now, you might actually hate this person for saying that to you, but that is the truth. So my question is, are we wanting to hear the truth? Or are we wanting to stay asleep and actually just be happy and comfortable? Because the two don't really function together, okay? We can either hear the truth of our heart, we can hear the truth of our passion, we can hear the fact that the polarity does not exist. Everything that happens to you is there for a reason. It will benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's pain, it is making you grow, okay? What is pain? It's discomfort. It's this ease, your unease with yourself. Something within you is not easy. You're uneasy with yourself. What does that mean? You're resisting something, okay? You want to do something, you feel something, but the should, the mind, the desire is fighting it. It's like, no, but I should. None of that, okay? That doesn't matter. Because you feel how you feel. You are where you are. Stuff is. How much sense does it make to actually fight what already is? Think about that for a second. If you're trying to fight what already is, how much sense does that make? Where will that get you? That will get you nowhere, okay? Fighting what already is will get you nowhere. But yet we do it all the time because we want stuff, right? We want to be happy. The stuff, the ego self. It wants to be happy because it thinks it cannot be happy in the state it is now. When Buddha woke up, he had the Four Noble Truths, right? What is the Four Noble Truths? The core of that. That we all are here suffering, but the suffering is actually able to be transcended to the comprehension of the fact that it is just caused by our own selves through the confusion of what is actually going on or what is actually there, that it is there for a reason, because the universe loves you, okay? It's there to help you, it's there to make you grow and learn. That is that essence of it, but we are unable to see it, and because we're unable to see the truth, we have this confusion of our ego selves trying to think that it should, the head, okay? The head destroys our actual understanding of the truth because we think we should, because of how we're used to. We're so clinging to those concepts, right? It's anchored in the concepts and in the responsibilities that we think we should have. Now, oftentimes, our responsibilities actually do heavily tie in with what we should be doing. Not should be doing in essence of that, but what we are meant to be doing here. The way I use that term is, it does not exist in higher dimensions as a responsibility. It only exists in the sense that you are here to you're meant to follow your heart, because when you follow your heart, you are happy. It will get you where you are happy. It will get you where you're meant to be. It will get you to where you're able to understand and appreciate everything that happens inside of your life. That's what we're meant to do here. But are we able to do that? Because in order for us to fully wake up, we have to learn to follow the heart. We have to learn to do what we're meant to do, right? In essence, we have to learn to let go of all those concepts. We have to learn to appreciate pain, understand that it is there for a reason. It will make you grow. It is making you learn, because what is pain? Pain is resistance to your true self. Anytime pain is just resistance to your true self, okay? Any kind of pain. There's books written about the physical pain being together with emotional. And it is that way for a reason. Our body is a reflection of our mind, and our mind is a reflection of our body. There are two parts of the mirror, beautiful, divided together, and we can use that as a tool both ways, to both ends, influencing both back and forth. But we don't do that. Because we're not aware of that. Because again, being awake means being aware, means accepting the full responsibility for your current state of being, integrating all of that pain, but we are not able to do that because of how much it hurts us sometimes, right? So maybe we don't actually want to wake up. Maybe we like to be asleep, right? So the question here is, we came here to be asleep and to wake up because we want to see, are we actually able to transcend desire? Are we able to transcend that thing that we think we want, that we think will make us happy, and understand the fact that everything happens for a reason, and that's what's supposed to be happening, because it is happening. Just think about that for a second, right? Everything that is happening, it's supposed to be happening because it is happening. Stuff is, okay? That's just that. Is it not? Everything that happened in your past should have happened to you in your past, according to the way that you humans like to define the word should, excuse me. Everything that happened to you was meant to happen to you because it did. That's just it. Whatever happened, it just happened. So us sitting on it, us being mad about it, will do nothing to help us. Okay? It will not actually help us because we're trying to change what cannot be changed. It's like if I'm upset about the fact that whatever I'm doing right now, right? I can't even do that right now, okay? I can't. And that's okay. Because whatever you are, whatever I'm saying, however I'm sounding, that's just it. If I later look back at it and I think, oh, I should not have said that because I think XYZ might happen, well, that is none of my business because it just happened, okay? And I will make this video as is and not edit it for the purpose of actually saying what I meant to be saying here. That what happens is not up to us. What happens is not up to you. We're here to learn the fact that we actually have no power. Now, you may not like that statement, but our ego self thinks it wants power, thinks it has all the power, right? But what is the ego self? The ego self is an idea we have created in our mind of who we are. It's all the labels, definitions, accordances with our personality traits, and the way that we are, and the stuff that we think happened to us that actually defines us, right? So, ego is definitions. Now again, from a fully awake perspective, there is no definitions. So, there is no ego. So, your true self, fully awake state, has no definitions, has no ego. Therefore, the ego does not exist. Therefore, you don't exist. Now, let that sink in for a second, right? Are you able to actually understand the fact that everything that happened to you in your life up to this point is an idea in your head currently? Because currently, in this moment, here and now, you're sitting wherever you're sitting or you're listening to this. And if you look back in your life, you're replaying that inside of your own head. It does not exist outside of your own head. Now, sure, there's physical proofs that we can look back on, but in this moment, it does not exist in your head. And every physical proof that you look back on, you can truly redefine it if you chose to, is it not? Because when something happens, we give it meaning. Now again, from the higher perspective, the meaning does not exist. We give it meaning. The meaning is given by the human mind created consciousness, the ego self that defines stuff. The ego is actually the one that gives it meaning. Our human consciousness gives it meaning. So, if we are here to hate on the ego, don't hate on the ego, because the ego is needed too. We need the ego to function in the physical. Without the ego, the definitions do not exist. Without the ego, there is no concept of anything, because without the ego, we're just fully woke up. So the key here is that we all have an ego self, okay? Don't hate your ego self. Your job is to make friends with your ego self. And how do you do that? You allow it to play out. Through the releasing of self-judgment, through the releasing of the fact that maybe there's things about you that you would like to change, or you think you should be that way, but it's okay. The way that you are is okay. You are perfect because you were created to be this way. Because if you think about it, you just are the way that you are. And that is perfect, because what is. It makes no sense to fight what is. So don't fight yourself. The key to actually integrating the ego, and we're not here to eliminate the ego, okay? Without the ego, we're just woke up. We're just there, okay? I don't think your mind wants to go just there, because it's like you're put in, like a sensory deprivation tank. There is no senses, there is no polarity. You're not aware of nothing. It's like someone's just shining light into your eyes, okay? That is nothing. That is source. Light is source. And so we're not here to eliminate the ego. The ego allows us to exist on the physical. And we all have an ego self, and that is okay. The key is to make the ego your friend. But what we do is we tend to hate on it, we tend to judge it because of that polarity that we have developed. That polarity is completely up to you. Now let me ask you this. Do you want to be happy? Or do you want to be sad? Do you want to be happy? Or do you want to be right? Because you can choose one. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to live according to your head, the way that it thinks it should, just to understand the fact that you're never going to be happy that way. The only way you're going to be happy is if you're going to choose to be happy. Because as we go from 3-dimensional to 5-dimensional, we had to pass through a 4D tunnel. Now, if you're not aware of these, the 3D is essentially the ego, the 4D is just intense emotions, and 5D is where we are actually heading as a collective consciousness, which is peace, love, and a state where worry and fear does not exist. Now, as we're transcending from that, we have to let go of all fear. But are we able to do that? If you're not aware of these concepts, don't focus on it too much, okay? The key here is that this is happening anyways. The only thing we can do now is choose. You can choose to let go of fear. You can choose to let go of worry and accept the fact that everything that you are worried about is not in your control. The ego wants to control it. The ego wants to worry, and the mind wants to worry because it wants to control stuff. Because again, we think we should. We don't have that power. We don't have the power to control the universe. And that is a sad thing to accept for some of us because we think we want to control it, but we cannot. There is nothing you can do if the universe don't want you to do it, okay? If something you want to do, but the universe doesn't want you to do it, it's never going to happen to you, okay? I'm sorry, but that's just what that is. And we don't want to hear the truth because the truth is painful, but the truth sometimes is needed. And yes, we're here to be kind and we're here to be nice to each other, but sometimes what happens is that being kind and nice to each other and not telling the truth, we forget the fact that we deny our own truth in the process. Because being kind and nice is a concept of a human mind that we have developed. Again, going back to concepts, we think it's better than anything else. It is not. It is just there. And if you find that when you look into your heart, when you follow your heart truly, with all the fears released, with all the doubts released, with all the worries released, when you follow your heart wants to be kind. Your heart wants to give. Your heart wants to help. That is just your heart. That is just what that is. But sometimes we develop layers around it. We develop stuff that maybe we're afraid of love. Maybe we're afraid of closeness. We're afraid of things. We're just afraid of everything and, whatever might happen in the future. We're afraid of a future that has not yet happened. In your head, whatever you're afraid of, it's in your head. I'm sorry, but it's in your head. Because right here now, you're right here now, okay? This is what you're doing. Whatever you're afraid of is in your head. And it's in someone else's head because it's not going to be up to you, okay? When that moment comes, it's going to be what it has to be. And that's just what it is, okay? So we have to learn to accept that. And we have to learn to accept the fact that where we are is where we are meant to be. And if it hurts, let it hurt. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting anything. Because what you will find is we're afraid of stop fighting things. Because we're afraid that if we don't fight anymore, we're all just going to perish, right? Because we're afraid of that. Because we have that responsibility. We think that once we stop fighting, we'll lose the ego, but we don't. We all have an ego self. The ego self has an entity in and of itself. You have and I have. We all have an ego self, like an idea. A particular frequency we're here meant to express, but sometimes the ego self takes over. And it is powered by fear and worry in the mind. And sometimes this just takes over. Now, we have to learn to transcend that and to follow our heart, but we are never going to eliminate the ego, okay? The ego is always going to be there. The key is not to eliminate it, it's to be friends with it. Because your higher mind, your awake state, is aware. And we all have it, okay? We're all awake, we just come asleep and forget stuff. And your higher mind is aware of the ego self. Now, the ego self is not always aware of the higher mind. So it's like raising your kids. Think of your higher self, your higher mind, your true self, the awake state of you, like a parent, and the ego self like a kid. We are all both. We're all kids because we went through that, and we're all a parent because we are all going to grow up, and we are growing up, if you have already, depending on your age, we are all already both. So now the key is, as we are growing, the universe is like our parent because, think about it, when you are a kid, something happens to you that's painful, right? You don't always like that. We oftentimes get mad at our parents because our parents do something we don't like. But sometimes that parent actually knows what we need. If we want to do something that's potentially destructive to us because we don't know any better, the parent's gonna stop us, right? Like if we're trying to run across, like jump off the balcony or something because we're a kid and we think we're gonna fly because we're a kid and we don't understand concepts yet because we're just a kid. Like they have the fence around the baby things for a reason because the baby's just gonna walk out and fall and break his head. The parent puts that there. Maybe the baby wants to go and fall, but the baby's not gonna be able to because the parent put the wall. Because the parent knows the baby is not meant to go that way. This is life, okay? We're that baby that we're trying to go somewhere, the universe puts a wall, and then we're trying to bump our head against the wall because we think this is where our happiness is. But how do we know that? We don't know everything. The most we can do is trust the fact that if there is a wall, it is there for a reason, and you can gauge. the feeling, your heart will tell you. Are you meant to stay there because you need to learn something? Are you meant to go elsewhere because maybe there's something better for you? Or are you maybe meant to break the wall? It really depends on the wall, okay? But the key to knowing what you're meant to do is your heart. It's your feeling. It's that feeling you have after you have let go of all worry and all fear. So ask yourself, if you were not afraid, what would you do? Just play a mental game with me, okay? Pretend, if you could be not afraid, what would you do? Because that is your truth. That is your true feeling. Because the fear is ego-made. It's mind-made, okay? That stuff is not real and according to the higher self. It's kind of like, again, to the kid example. The kid is the one that wants to go somewhere. The mind puts the wall. The kid is like, well, I want to go that way, but I can't go that way, and there's a wall. The universe knows, okay? It's there for a reason. Everything is there for a reason because you are here now, right? How are you here? Who put you here? You are here because of your parents, right? The parents made you physically. You shaped your mind the way that they are, but why are we here as a human consciousness? Who put humans here? Something somewhere put humans here, right? So whoever created humans wants us to be happy. It loves us. It wants us to be happy because it has created us to be this beautiful creation that is here to be a beautiful creation. Each and every one of us is created to be the way that we're meant to be. We're created to be a certain kind of way in accordance to our particular frequency, and we're just meant to play out that way, okay? But we don't let ourselves do that because we start to identify with everybody else. We start to think that this person is better than that person. Well, that's better. Well, I want that. But is that your truth? Now, sometimes our truths overlap. That is very common too. And we use each other as a mirror to know and find our truth through polarity. So if we find something we like, if you like that, you're like that. Okay? It's that simple. If I like that, I am like that. If I don't like that, well, then I'm not like that. So if you like something about yourself, well, you're like that. If you like something about someone else, well, you're like that. And if you don't like something about yourself, well, then you're just not like that, okay? It's not your truth. We don't often even know what our truth is because of those concepts, because of the way we are raised. When we grow up, what happens is that we're so fractured, we're so hurt by life and fractured into so many pieces that we lose ourselves. And that is actually the whole point. Because when we lose ourselves, we're here to find ourselves, okay? That is the whole point of life. The whole point of life, the game of life, is to find ourselves again, to wake up more and more to who we are, while still knowing that we have an ego self, and that is okay. Love your ego self, okay? Like, this person here, like my ego self, is like, she's just gonna go party, make friends with everybody, go dance all night, and just get drunk, okay? That's my ego self. I let her play out, okay? My other self, my true self, just wants to meditate all day. I let her play out, okay? You have both. Let both play out. Because they're both needed for you to be where you are at this moment. And the only reason we are suffering for anything, again, back to the Four Noble Truths of the Buddha, right? We're only suffering with anything because we are resisting it. Because we think what should be is not what is. Because we want something else. We want our reality to align with our expectations. Because when our reality aligns with our expectations, we'll be happy. But we already have our reality. So if you want to be happy, just get out of your head, get those expectations into hand, look at them, and ask yourself, are the expectations you have in alignment with the truth of what is? And can you get them aligned so that you're happy? So sometimes it's hard for us to do that, but we have the power to do that. And my camera is actually running out of space right now because I've been ranting for a long time. But the key here is, are we ready to wake up? I'll just record another video. Space clearing time. Back to the video. And you know what? It will happen for a reason. Do you know why? Because the next thing I want to talk about is clearing up the old past. So the fact that my camera just ran out of space is a good thing. Because now I can actually know what I'm going to talk about next. Just letting go of your past. See, everything happens for a reason, right? I live by this. It makes me so much happier, okay? And that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to appreciate everything that happens because it's there for a reason. Everything in your past. The key to letting go of your past to be happier, is to understand that everything happens for a reason. Because we cling to that, because we want to be safe. We cling to that because we all want to be loved and understood and heard, and it is only because we don't love ourselves. But what does that mean? What does self-love mean? Self-love means loving your ego self and your higher self. Loving both. That is self-love. It is acceptance. Love is just acceptance, because if you think about it, right, whoever made us here, whoever created us here on this earth, it accepts us because we're here, right? No one takes us and forces us in, into like, we're humans. We're free as humans together with other humans, okay? Our creator is not even technically here. It's just communicating us through feeling. So it accepts us. It accepts us to be as we are, go where we need to be, develop as we need to be, and just play out our thing. It accepts us. Therefore, it loves us. And now it's not something we really think about, right? Because we always look into these religious groups of like, oh, the God loves you, but the God, the universe, anything you wish to call it, the higher creation, the thing that created humans, it created humans, right? If you create something, now think about the human system, right? It's a very complicated system, very complicated, okay? Probably took someone a very long time to create it. So if you create something like that, you will value it, you will appreciate it, you will love that thing because you put work into it and you want it to develop and grow, right? So naturally, whoever made us wants us to develop and grow. It wants us to be happy, and it loves us, and it loves you, but we don't see that. But that is still okay. That is still okay. It's okay with that. It's okay with whatever you want to do. But we would just be so much happier because, again, what is happiness? Happiness is what we're meant to be doing. It's our passion. Because why would you want to be sad in life? Why would you want to chase something you think you should do if it's not going to make you happy? This makes no sense to me. Just be happy, But how do you be happy? Well, step one is appreciating whatever happened to you, and that is very hard for us to do. But just finding a reason for whatever happened as to why it's okay that happened, why it benefits you in some way, shape, or form, even if you're just learning. Sometimes the stuff that happened to us is just a lesson. We're just meant to learn. That's okay. Okay, it's okay. Whatever happened, it's okay. And then we just have to understand that there is really no should. Because if there's something that you're doing that's happening to you and you think you should this or that, well, it's only because you think it will make you happy or you think it will make someone else happy. But the key here is that you're aware of yourself more than you are of anyone else. You're not aware of someone else the same way you're aware of yourself. And so the thing that you're meant to do here is to follow your passion and make yourself happy, and just know that everything that happens is there for a reason. It was meant to happen because that's just what's meant to happen. Because how do we know what's the best path for us? If we're that baby inside of the thing and there's a wall, how do we know we're meant to go beyond that wall? Maybe we're just gonna smash our head. Okay, I'm sorry for the visual, but it's like, how do we know that? We don't know that. We don't know where we're meant to go. Let's just be honest with ourselves, okay? Let's just be honest with ourselves with the fact that we don't know what is best for us sometimes. Because we're learning. Our ego self is learning. Our ego self, the mind, is learning. We don't know what is best for us. The most we can do is trust that what happens is what is meant to happen. And learn to know that we can choose to find the good in things. You can choose what you wish to be. You can choose what happens to you because of the meaning that you give it. What happens to you is the meaning you give it. Everything that happened to you before in your past, you gave it meaning. It means something to you, right? That meaning you give it is your life. Your life is the meaning you give it. And we can choose that meaning, but we don't. You know why we don't? Again, back to the very beginning, because of our human mind, of the polarity of the concepts. We cling to those concepts so heavily. It rips out our individual choice to define it the way we choose to define it. So the key here is really to learn to appreciate that. And it's sometimes really hard to do, right? Like, I can give an example. When I was getting out of the house first time, I didn't have a phone. I had no phone, okay? I had no phone, I had no car, I didn't really know where I was going to go, and I got into a fight with my mom, and I ended up getting scratches on my nose, and I was like, well, I can't be here. So I basically had no idea where I was going, what I was going to do. Thankfully, I had a friend who helped me out with that, and I used like online thing to contact my friend. My friend came and got me in the middle of the night. I had no idea, even anything. I had no idea of anything. The only thing I had is trust. But I chose that, okay? It's a choice. I chose to be in the unknown. I chose to be in the unfamiliar because that is where my happiness was. Like, I was much happier sleeping on the couch, my whole body hurting, and working because I was happy. And my friend is an amazing person too. Like, I was happier that way. In comparison to having everything provided for me, sleeping comfortably on the bed, always having food, not having to work, but I was not happy. So the question here is, are we choosing comfort, or are we choosing happiness and freedom? Because now I'm looking back at it, I'm like really happy that my mom did that, because it actually allowed me to choose that. So I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for the scratches on my nose, okay? But are we able to do that? Are you able to actually look into your life and be thankful for your pain? That's what waking up means. Are we even ready to wake up? That's the whole point of the video. Are we ready to wake up? Are you ready to wake up? Are you ready to let go of all the concepts and knowing that the key is a choice? You have a choice. Choice is your choice. Choice is your choice, essentially. But choice is it's your key. It's your, it's going to get you through that doorway, because as we go through this collective consciousness shift, we can choose. We can choose to let go of the past. We can choose to accept the fact that everything that happened to us up to this point is in our head. Okay? That is just the truth. Because right now, up to this point, you are sitting somewhere listening to this, and you are there in that moment. The next moment, you'll be somewhere else the next moment. And if we also accept the truth, well, our memory is not really reliable. Because we have a memory, which is essentially like a storage of information. We store things, and sometimes when we go back and look at it, we essentially rewrite it every time. Every time we remember a memory, it's a little different, and there's a whole bunch of science behind it that people remembering things, they can remember it slightly differently every time. It's like the broken phone example, when the person goes from one person to the next. That's essentially our brain, okay? That's like our brain. Because sometimes when we remember things, we remember it from our current perspective of selves. And the only reason I say it changes is because our perspective changes, and the meaning we give it changes. The whole idea of your past is the meaning you give it. If we're here playing victims, it's because of the meaning we gave it. We decided that thing is going to make us a victim, but we can choose. We can choose to decide that whatever happened to you will make you a victory person. You will succeed, you will grow, you'll be strong, you'll conquer the world. You can choose that meaning, because everything that happens to you, every painful thing, is two things. Will you choose it from your head to be a painful thing that maybe you want someone else to give you pity and love? Or will you give yourself love? Will you give yourself love and choose the fact that this is an opportunity for you to be stronger? This will make you stronger, and it will inspire people one day, because whatever you're going through, whoever you are, whatever you're going through, one day you will get through it, and you'll be stronger as a result. You will have conquered something, you will have learned, and you will know how to deal with that. And if someone else is dealing with that, you can help them, right? So that is the whole point of life, is that we're all growing, and we're all growing together, and we're all helping each other. And so it makes no sense to judge our past. It makes no sense to judge whatever happened to you in your past, because it is there for a reason. It will make you grow and learn, and know that that is the reason for it. If you don't know the reason, if you cannot choose a better definition, just know that it's there for a reason, as a lesson. It's there to make you grow. And it's there to, the universe loves you, okay? That's just the main thing. It would never do anything to actually hurt you, but we don't trust it. We don't trust it because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves with ourselves, from our ego selves, because we judge the ego based on the concepts. So the key here is to learn to accept your ego. Whatever you are, whatever that is, just know that it is what it is, because it's created to be this way. The universe created it to be this way. It is meant to be this way. The universe loves you. The universe loves your ego. The universe loves the true you, because it created you to be that way. But do you love you? Do you love the true you? Do you accept the fact that however you are made, you are meant to be made? All the concepts aside, all the human concepts aside, none of that matters. Do you know why none of that matters? Because if the universe has created you to be this way, then you're just created to be this way. That's just what that is. You are just who you are. Accept that, okay? Love yourself, because we all have to love ourselves. And what is love? Just acceptance. It's just the cessation of the fighting of our own selves. And that eliminates the pain, because every time we are in pain, we are fighting our true selves. And oftentimes it's very subconscious, because we have these beliefs from our childhood that, oh, this happened to me, and that happened to me, and this person did this to me, and that person did it to me. But right now, you're doing it to yourself through remembering it. You're replaying it in your head. You're living in your past, quite literally, because this is where your focus is. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where you put your attention is where you are living. So, do you want to live in your past, or do you want to choose to take that trip down the memory lane and redefine? Because the only way we can actually let go of all the pain, the only way we can let go of all of that, the only way we can accept our ego self is by making peace with our past. That is the only true way to ever accept and love ourselves, is to make peace with your past and with your true selves, with every kind of action that you will ever go on to make peace with that. And if we make peace with our past, we will make peace with our current selves. Do you know why? Because in our past, stuff happened. Someone did something to us, and we did something. We responded a certain way. And we oftentimes judge ourselves harsher than anyone else, because if you think about it, why do we ever get mad at someone else? Because if we're mad at them, it is because we think they did something that hurt us, but it's because we didn't think we were strong enough to stand up to them, stand up for ourselves, and tell that person that this is just not okay. Standing up for yourself, being there for yourself, will eliminate any kind of need to ever be mad at anybody else, because you will have the confidence to know that you will handle any situation that comes your way in the way that it needs to be handled, and you will smash whatever you need to smash, okay? You'll do well. That's the key. Because when we look back in our past, when we go down that memory lane, we play out events. If we ever blame someone else, we're giving away our responsibility to somebody else. So how much sense does that make? It's our own life. We can choose to have the responsibility for our own life. Because if we can choose to be grateful for our life will become better by definition, because whatever we wish to have, we would be grateful to have, we would feel better. So the components are gratitude to have whatever you have equals happiness, okay? That is just how that works. That's just the formula. Gratitude, present, aligning equals happiness, okay? That's just how that works. So we can do two things. We can change our environment, and we can align our environment with our expectations, or we can align our expectations with our reality. But oftentimes we don't do that. We don't align our expectations with reality because we're afraid if we do that, we'll stop growing, but you will not stop growing. Because whatever happens is that when you align your expectations with your reality, you're thankful, and then you're free, and then you choose to evolve anyways, because that is just what your truth is. But we don't know that. We don't know our truth, and so we try to force our truth onto ourselves. That takes us out of the whole thing. Your truth wants to evolve, grow, and learn. That's exciting. That's your truth, the higher self, the higher mind after you wake up more and more. The ego self, if it is aware of that, what we sometimes do is we force that onto ourselves. We force the fact that we need to grow onto ourselves, and it takes us out of the fact that this is what we want to do. And we are afraid of actually appreciating our current circumstances because we are afraid of getting comfortable there. Do you know why? Because we don't want to get comfortable there. We don't actually like to be comfortable, but we think we do because we think that is safe. Because again, we don't trust ourselves to handle whatever will come your way. But I am telling you now that whatever will come your way just will. And the way you handle it, you just will. That's just what that is. So how much control do we actually have of anything? The only control we have is choice. The only choice we have is within our own selves. Do we fight ourselves? And do we choose to live in this pain? Or do we choose to accept our truth? Do we choose, are we able to let go of that responsibility? Just play a game. If you're not willing to live that way, right? If you don't want to live that way, because that can be really hard to live that way, just imagine for a second, what would it feel like to not have any responsibilities? If all was taken care of and all was well, just for one day, what would you do that would make you happy? What will make you happy to do if all was taken care of? And I don't mean watching television, okay? I don't mean playing video games, because that stuff distracts you from yourself. That's good. It's good to do that. It's good to live vicariously. We're learning, okay? Watching TV is like getting out of our own life and getting into somebody else's life, okay? It's good. But for your own life, what would make you happy to do? And oftentimes what you find is, if you even allowed yourself a couple of days of this, you'll find that what you actually want is to learn. You will want to learn. You will want to grow. There will be something you're interested in, and you'll want to go do that. You'll get excited for stuff, right? So you're releasing that responsibility. If you could pretend that everything was taken care of, because in higher mind it is, but our human mind, our ego self, doesn't know that. It wants to be safe. So again, our creator, whoever made us for us to learn and grow, not to suffer. We're not meant to suffer, but we choose our own suffering. But we can choose our own happiness by releasing any fears, releasing any doubts, releasing any kind of expectations, okay? The expectations are like the devil of a human existence. Because what is expectation? Expectation is essentially what causes all of our pain everywhere. Relationships, work, life, self. We expect something, right? If we don't get that, we're not happy. Because again, what what we expect is oftentimes here. We don't get that. It's not up to us if we're gonna get that, okay? The most we can do is strive. We can strive for stuff, we can want that, but we have to be okay with the fact that whatever happens is meant to happen. Because what happens sometimes is we're meant to have that desire. We're meant to want something for us to go that way, just for us to go somewhere, and then to realize that actually now we want something else. So then we're meant to go that way because it's guiding us to where we're ultimately meant to be. If I'm going from this side to this side, I first have to want to go to the middle. So I will really want to go to the middle, and then I'll want to take the next step and the next step. But if I get stuck in the middle, because I think the middle is supposed to make me happy, I think the middle is supposed to give me whatever I need, right? Well, eventually it's not going to. I'll just start to feel stuck and unhappy here because I think that's where I should be. But essentially, my desire is guiding me that way. It's guiding me towards this side more. Because the higher mind knows this is where we're meant to be. So following your passion, following your joy, will lead you step by step where you're meant to go. And the key is knowing that the desire changes. Do not cling to the desire either. I say don't cling to the past and the pain. Don't cling to the good either. We must learn to let go of both, the good and the bad. We must learn to release both, knowing that if something is good in your life, that's amazing. Appreciate it while it's there, but know that if there is ever a wall, if there's ever an obstacle that you think does no longer make you happy, well, maybe you're meant to go the other way, because there will be something there that you will learn, grow, and benefit from that way. So essentially, everything that happens in your life, both good and bad, is there for a reason. Sometimes we get so much good in our life, right? We get physical stuff just to realize that it doesn't make us happy. Sometimes we get so much pain just to realize that maybe having the physical stuff won't make us happy because we're still in pain. There's two ways to get there, but essentially we get to the same thing. The end goal is knowing that the physical stuff is not what makes you happy. What makes you happy is you choosing to be happy by choosing to understand that whatever is, okay, just is, right? Whatever is, that's just there, right? The way we look at it, the meaning we give it, is our choice. It is our, by definition, only really power we have is to choose the meaning we give it. That is the only power we really have. What will you choose to make it mean? Whatever is. What does it mean for you? Is whatever is meant for you to be there and suffer? Or maybe it's meant for you to grow stronger. It's meant for you to conquer that, because if you are not strong enough to handle it, you would not be given that obstacle. You're only given in accordance to your capacity. We are only given in accordance to our power, to our own truth, to what we're capable of. We're given to our full potential so that we can grow into our potential. So whatever you're given, if you feel like it's too much, well, just know that it is the universe's way of saying you are strong enough to handle that. You're strong enough to handle whatever happens to you, okay? Because what it is, it's given to us. We can learn to handle it. We're meant to learn to handle it. That's why it's given to us. It's only given to you because you're strong enough to handle it. Whatever you're going through or have gone through, you only did because you're strong enough to handle it. That's the point of life, was a growth. We're given things, we learn. The universe knows our potential, okay? Sometimes we feel pushed. We feel like we cannot handle it, but we feel that way because it's out of our comfort zone, because we're growing, and because we're becoming more of our true selves, more of our potential. We're becoming more of our potential. But sometimes that means really stretching. You know, when they first started running a mile, right, or running races, they made it in a certain time frame. Someone ran fast in a time frame, and that was the goal. Everyone else strove to surpass that. Everyone strives to surpass what is there, but that means getting out of your comfort zone. That means pushing the limits. If someone set the limit, that this is the fastest someone can run, the fastest someone can run, someone else pushed that limit and said, I will do it better. So everything that happens to you right now, it's happening, but it's because the universe knows you can get through it. You can handle it, you can conquer it, you can learn from it, and it will be okay in the end. It will take you where you're meant to be. But the key is that we wait to be happy by something else happening, but what is happening already happening. So why are we not choosing? Because if you think about it, right, if the only thing that matters is your state of mind, why does the external matter? If it will not make you happy, if whatever you think you should have, if you get that, will you actually feel happy, or do you just think you'll feel happy? Because how do you know you'll be ultimately happy forever getting what you want? Well, for now, it will make us happy, right? So that's what we do. We go there. We strive. But the key is not getting attached. The key is not clinging to the outcome. When we cling to the outcome, we put like a ceiling onto it. We say, this is the highest I can go. This is what I want. But there is no ceiling. There is no limit. By letting go of the outcome, we're able to let go of the ceiling. We're able to go in higher. Because maybe like we want to have a job with an like 100,000 K a year, whatever, and we think that will make us happy, and we cling to that. But we put a wall. What if maybe your passion will make you $1 million a year, right? We cling to that wall. And sometimes to get into that passion, to hire $1 million a year means at first you'll just simply love doing it. You'll love doing it. You'll make little. But if you make little and you appreciate that little, knowing that this is your passion, and even though you want that 100K a year, it's okay because this is your passion. Doing your passion will eventually get you even better, because we're all given what we need in each moment that we are. And there is different kinds of abundances. We think money is abundance, but happiness is a true abundance too, right? Our thoughts, our ideas are also abundance. So all of that really matters. So the only thing here is that I hope that you actually choose. Just know that you can choose. The whole point of this rant is to get across to you that you can choose the definition you give things and what you do with your current circumstances. And I thank you for being you, because the universe created you to be you, and you're perfect.